basic stair, and then the stairs relationship, like the condition in which this circulation nested within a volume. So I started off by like thinking of verbs that I'd like to use. So the first one would be like nesting within a volume, where the spaces is shared within the volume with the circulation. And then the second one is like carving, where the volume carves out the volume. And creates like a different relationship, whereas like the first floor is like one space, the second floor is another space. And this is fracturing, where the circulation basically bisects the volume and then creates two separate spaces. And this one is puncturing, where it pokes in but it doesn't go through. And the next one is intersecting, where it just goes through the whole way, and it doesn't really have a relationship within the space, but more of like leading you through the building and not to the building. And then the next one is revolving or like wrapping, where it goes around, and it doesn't really have a relationship with what's inside, but more of just going around.
Right.
And then these are just the conditions, so they're not really like, I didn't do anything formally, they're just representing how the relationship within each other. And then what I did next was take the generic form and then apply another set of verbal actions to them. Where this first, I have a lot written down, like expand, split, interlock, shift, mirror, fold, overlap, and sweep. But then I only got to two of them, which is the first one is expand. So instead of this, like it spreads out into a larger volume. And then this is like expand when it's nested within the volume.
Right.
And then expand carving away. Expand fracturing. These ones weren't finished models, but expand going through puncturing, intersecting. And I felt like the revolving, the wrapping didn't really apply to expanding, since it's more of like the idea of
it could squeeze into it, right? Or
yeah.
pull out of it. It might start to, I think it's almost like, I like what you're doing, and it's right now it's like the effect of the circulation onto a space, and then is there a reciprocal, what happens to the space, does it respond back in some way?
I was going to do another set, whereas the space also has these actions, and then how the circulation could be altered based on these actions applied to it.
I almost think you can like kind of show them in, obviously you don't have to go through in your video like every step of the thing, but to pick out a few of these and then say at the end, like, what happens if I take this, and this, and then I put it together?
Yeah.
And then just leave it at the, like, and then these then gets deployed onto, like, does that, what are the many ways I could do that? But yeah, I think it's just also, one thing is at the end, once you do the catalog, you still have to have a filter, like, why this versus that?
Yeah.
And then just to say, at the end, the positions for each is to think about, like, or if it's it feels like you're thinking about the relationship of space and circulation as a kind of additive or subtractive operation. Does this idea start to play into the way you think about the thesis being both carve out or add to? And then how do you, and then on the bigger project, is the building always being subtracted to? Or is the circulation always just subtracting out of the building? Or is it always, it's different than if you, let's say, do a mat and then you take and carve this out of it. Or you make modules and then place it on, and then things add together. I think your project is somewhere in between, but I would maybe add the verbiage, the kind of words of thinking about subtraction and addition into the qualities that into the kind of way you think about circulation and and space. Because right now, before it was much more vague about circulation and space, but now you're taking a position, it's actually a carving. Because that's, most people don't necessarily have to do that, you know? And so how you do that, I think, is starting to create something different, and I would make sure you say that in your position.
My goal right now is just, because I don't know the tendencies of these, like these conditions and how these birds would affect space. So my goal is just to like create like a series of like documenting.
Right.
So
no, I think that's good, but I'm just saying is that when you get to the next step and try to put them together, and then, or like try a few different ways of putting them together, it might gives you a position about how you're going to curate these.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we just have a big catalog.
Yeah. Right. So I was thinking about like after I get all of them, I could pick out several that I find interesting, or that's like something that I didn't expect to begin with, that maybe could fit towards a programmatic relationship within a building. Maybe like retail, the separation between retail and office, or like a cafe in the back of the house. Like I was just seeing what's more interesting.
Right. I think maybe that's a way to fold in something, a hybrid program that doesn't necessarily normally are together or something.
I was thinking about, because this is just stairs, I was thinking about doing a similar like cataloging programs, but then I feel like it's a lot harder since there's not really like a whole floor of ramp, but more of a ramp is just like half a story or like a couple feet just to reach you up. So I felt like it was hard for a ramp to like puncture several floors or like separate program. It's more something that's within a program most of the time.
I would think about maybe something like a corridor. Like something that, maybe a corridor that could also become like something horizontal, but something maybe even vertical. So maybe it's a corridor and an atrium. I don't know. I think we need to maybe expand that to something that might also work vertically. Or I feel like it has to be something that you can, like if you fold in this with next to a corridor versus next to an atrium, like corridor means something horizontal and atrium meaning something vertical, how does that change also the relationship of the stair with that element? It might be, it's not so binary, like only A and B, but it's like actually A, B, and C. Because a lot of times the corridor, the stair is quite short, but a corridor lasts a lot longer. So, or an atrium has it all the way through multiple floors. Just think it might be a way to start to relate like this to a larger part of